Everybody, it's on Shushan Purim. We all received the very shocking news of the Patira of Rosh Kol B'nai Agola, Maran Rav Chaim Kanievsky, Harini Kahuras Mishkaves Chusigolin V'Zlein, Seichet Tzaddik Kodesh L'Vrocha. I'll tell you something. I didn't really personally have any shaykhs with him. I only remember seeing him one time by the Koisel. I believe it was Chol Hamoed Sukkos. And I remember one of my friends, he went for Havdalah to his house, and it was a very special occasion for him. And my friend's brother, also a good friend, bought for his brother a picture of Rav Chaim because it was a very special, meaningful thing for him. And he is really an amazing person. You know, and even the things that I've learned about him since his Patira a few days ago, he was really universally loved. And I attribute that to his diligence in Torah. When I say universally loved, I don't mean actually universally. But I'm saying among the Klal Yisrael, among the Jewish people, he was respected even outside of our camps, even outside of the Haredi world, even outside the Orthodox world. There was just a tremendous respect. And his humility was incredible. One thing that's been going around recently, has been well known for a long time, is that every year he would make a siyum on Kol Torah Kulei, which consisted of the Bible, probably several times. They said he was doing 8 chapters a day. So the Tanakh, that would mean he'd finish it 2 or 3 times, or at least the Chumash we do anyway, and then Nach is what I'm assuming. That's what they meant. If he's doing 8 prakim, you do 2 prakim of Nach, you finish in a year. So if you do 2 a day, so if you're doing 8, you're gonna finish it 4 times. So right. He would finish both the Babylonian Talmud and the Jerusalem Talmud every year. Did 8 pages of each. 8 pages of the Babylonian Talmud you finish in a year. 8 pages of Jerusalem Talmud, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you finish twice a year. Because the Jerusalem Talmud is shorter than the Babylonian Talmud. The pages are shorter also. So he'd finish the Zohar, the Medrash Rabbah, the Kisvi Ari, and the Kisvi Ramchal. He was a Makubal. We don't hear him talking about Kabbalah. He was he at least, he read the words, which is, he had that devotion, as we all should. And he said Tikkun Chatzos every night. So, an incredibly devoted person. Really, essentially, someone with a Hasidic background, like his father. However, he was, seen really as a Litvish Gadol. So he spanned, and of course all the Sfardim all respect all the Gedolim. So he has someone who was respected by the Hasidim, by the Litvaks, the yeshiva world, by the Sephardim, by the Haredi world, by the modern Orthodox world. Just universally respected and beloved. I saw someone tweeted also that when they asked him by Sima Shas something, what kind of message, what do you want for the Klal Yisrael? He said that they should know the Shas. We should know the Talmud. And the thing is that you don't need to be Rav Chaim Kanievsky to accomplish these things. So maybe we're not all going to. I'll tell you something interesting. This was about 2 weeks ago. So I had finished Shas for the second time, and I decided last time I did 2 blot a day, so I finished it in about 3.5 years. At least I said the words. I can't say I really understood it fully, but I had an idea of pretty much everything I was reading, for the most part. And I decided this year I'm going to do, or this time going through the Shas, I'm going to do 4 blot a day and 6 on Shabbos. So 30 blot a week. I mentioned something about it, about first that I did 2 blot a day and finished Shas in about 3.5 years. And I'm mentioning it because I'm saying if a public school boy like me can do that, so can you. That's the point. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this is chizuk. I'm sure it's the same thing. Rav Chaim Kanievsky was a very private person. So why do we know his Seder? Why is it something that there was some pirsum about? The point is he said it because he wanted to be a role model. And not that I'm anyone deserving to be a role model. But what I'm saying is that if I can do it, you could do it. That's what I'm saying. Especially nowadays, we have this Sefaria. Even if the people who run it, they're not all from. I don't know what the whole story is with that. And I know people have issues with that. But Torah is Torah. We got to learn. We got to learn Torah. If you're Jewish, you have to learn Torah. That's what being a Jew is all about. It's learning Torah. It's not about eating bagels and reading the New York Times. It's about learning. And it doesn't mean you can't listen to the news. Doesn't mean you can't know what's going on in the world. Doesn't mean that you have to be totally aloof from the world. But we also have to have a connection to Alufei Shalolim. And that has to be the main thing. The main thing in our life has to be Torah. And so, we know about these because, Rav Chaim was very, very private. And a lot of things we don't know about because he was humble about it. He was trying to hide it. But then the stories that come out, a very famous story that we know about because only he told his father, Stipler, that because Rav Chaim, he wrote so many incredible svarim, and he wrote about things that were necessary, meaning he wrote on the Yerushalmi, and we don't have Rishonim on the Yerushalmi, right? So, he did for us what we needed, meaning, all right, we have other Achronim wrote on Yerushalmi too, but I'm just saying, he fulfilled things that were missing. There's so many Sfarim that are written, that we, all right, so you make another likud of this and that, and it's nice and nothing wrong with it. I'm not criticizing it, Adarabah, write more Sfarim. And every sefer is important, and every sefer needs to be written. But what I'm saying is that Reb Chaim did things that the Klal Yisrael needed. They had an Yerushalmi, and so the other example is, of course, very famous. He wrote a sefer on Chagovim on the laws of which locusts are kosher. This week's parsha. A rather obscure thing, right? Because most of us were not eating locusts, not eating grasshoppers, but nonetheless, he wrote a sefer on this, and my mashgiach told us this story from yeshiva. Rabbi Bamberger is on his own side, and he said that he had a shaila, he had a kasha on what it meant, something about this grasshopper. He's sitting there writing his sefer with the window open, and that type of grasshopper hopped in and landed right on his sefer. He looked at it, he wrote it down, he took his notes, the grasshopper flew away. That's what it was. Excuse me. Then he had, a couple hours later, he had another question. What happened? The grasshopper came back, and he had the answer there by looking at the animal there, taking the notes, and nobody would have known this story except he told his father, but he didn't tell everybody the story. And so I'm passing by Locust Street here. That can't be, I pass by it every day. I never even noticed it. I'm on Route 6 heading from Honesdale to work. I didn't notice a Locust Street. It comes out the other side here, Locust Street. So the Stipler, he made a special kiddush when his son, when Rav Chaim finished writing this sefer, finished writing this book on the laws of locusts, and he told the story, and that's how we know the story. So when you live a life that's dedicated to the Torah, that's the way things work. And that grasshopper flying in the window probably is more valuable than $1 billion. That we have this Torah, that we have these teachings, we can understand the Torah more, things that most of us didn't understand, and some people did, and things could easily get lost. They were written down, but we need more to learn more and more, and that's what we have. And I'll tell you something. So when I finished the Shas a few weeks ago, and I mentioned that I learned 2 blot a day, and someone on Twitter, they felt it's worthwhile to put in their 2 cents about that. They said, that's horrible, that's worse than the Daf Yomi. They said in no yeshiva they do such a thing. First of all, in the old days in the yeshivas they would do the pin test, meaning that people memorized the whole Shas to the point where you could put a pin and they would know exactly which letter was under hundreds of pages. People had that much memory and that much of a breadth of knowledge of the Talmud. So that's in the old days. So just because they don't do it now, that's Aleph. Beis, also in my yeshiva, there was a Daf Yomi Shir. Rabbi Bamberger, we're going to mention again, he gave a Daf Yomi Shir. I didn't go, but there was such a thing. The other thing is I'm not in yeshiva. I work for a living, right? I've been out of yeshiva for whatever it is, 18, 16, 17 years, 16 years. Been out of yeshiva. I've been a Rav, I've been a rabbi, a chaplain, an educator. Had the schus to do these things. So now I'll tell you. So then we had the Chag HaSmicha they had the banquet where they were ordaining the new rabbis from my alma mater, from Lander College. And so they asked. So I mentioned to Mashgiach, to Rav Bamberger, so they finished Shas, and now I did 2 blot a day. Now I'm doing 4 blot a day. And he said, "Why not 8 blot a day, like Rav Chaim Kanievsky?" All right, maybe next time. We'll see. Go slowly. We make our goals, but so that shows that all right. And this was when Rav Chaim was still with us, just a few weeks ago. I want to talk about negative things, not about Rav Chaim, Chas v'Shalom, nothing negative to say, but about the world. Because I said it's universal, but it's not. And it's... I'll tell you something. The kind of negative things that they're saying on the media, lahavdil. Let's the fact that the way they attack President Trump, if they could get away with doing that to the president, they could do it to any of us, to make up lies, to make false prosecutions, all these things. It should strike fear in the heart of every American citizen that the left can attack. If they can do it to the president, they could do it to any of us. But I want to say something else. The fact that the people are attacking Rav Chaim in the newspapers and so forth. First of all, you have a man who lived 94 years, wrote dozens of books, dedicated his life to scholarship, and if all you care about is what his views were about COVID and how he changed back and forth and this and that, it's not that important of a thing. It's a minor detail in his life, and that's what the New York Times think is the most important thing. So, and then other negative things, you see all these. It's the only reason to attack is and I don't like this term anti-Semitism, but really that's what it is. It's not only Judeophobia, there's a certain anti-Semitism as well. It's both. Certainly Judeophobia, but also anti-Semitism. And it's horrific that a venerated, saintly person passes away and you have negative things to say. It's just because you hate Jews, you hate Judaism. That's why you would make these attacks. Whether the people happen to be of Jewish ethnicity or not, it's horrific, and it's wrong, and it demonstrates who these people are. That he can attack a tzaddik Sodei Olam like that, a person who just dedicated his life to holiness. I'll admit he was a little bit of a victim of Askonim, like all the Gedolim tend to become. But nonetheless, he was a holy man, and Gadol Hador. Real Gadol Hador, and from a family of Gedolim, son-in-law of Rav Elyashiv, a nephew of the Chazon Ish, the son of the Stipler. Incredible person. He came from royalty and he lived up to the royalty. So it's very shameful. It's very shameful. New York Times and other media outlets. This is what they want to focus on. Or to have anything negative to say about him personally. It's a different thing to say about people around him, but still, nonetheless, it's still not right, because sof kol sof the tzaddikim have siyata d'shmaya, that the Rebbeinu Shalom runs the world, and so they're not going to be. Whatever comes out is what's supposed to be. And it's what we need to hear, and it's the message we're supposed to receive. But this level of, and again, lahavdil. If you're going to attack Mother Teresa, it just shows you're anti-Catholic. Or you're going to attack Pope John Paul, it just shows you're anti-Catholic. You're going to attack, I don't know, when one of the Mormon prophets, whatever, passed away, it just shows you're a bigot against Mormons. Or, this is just a real tzaddik, a holy person, and the fact that the people they're attacking, it's just because they hate Judaism and they hate Jews, and it's shameful. Even if they're, and in a way, the tzaddik, like the story goes, is the mirror. The way that people see the tzaddik, that just demonstrates who they really are. But anyway, what is our job? Is to learn more Torah, to learn from the lesson of Rav Chaim, not to, not to get so caught up in this world. Even though I'm guilty of that, I'm the most guilty of that. But nonetheless, we got to learn Torah. I heard a very beautiful teaching. Someone asked Rav Chaim, "How do you deal with thoughts in your head that confuse you and upset you and so forth?" And he said, when you realize that those thoughts also come from God, then you'll be at peace. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. We'll see you later.